Hi guys, it's Christina from Redefine Creative, and today I am playing with my Wild Child collection, and I'm going to be using this sketch that you saw right there on the screen, and that is from one of my sketchbooks from Christine Davidson. And I am playing with my Wild Child collection, which I got from Memory Lane Scrapbook. So this is like a small online scrapbooking store, and she carries all of the kind of newest collections. And so I am playing with the boy collection portion of the Wild Child line. And this is from Pink Paisley. And I really wanted to kind of push myself and to show you how versatile this collection can be. So I am creating a double page spread today. So it is going to look a little bit different on screen, and I will try my best to make sure that you kind of get to see everything that's going on. So where I pulled my inspiration from that sketch was this kind of color blocked background. So in that particular sketch, there were 3 different sections of like color and pattern paper. And so I'm just using a white cardstock for my background. And then I'm going to grab 3 different patterns from the collection. So I used the top of that like outer space and cloud paper. And then I am also using this kind of burnt reddish, more like a retro pattern for the bottom, and it does have that bug paper on the back. And then I'm also going to pull in that lime green herringbone, and that's going to go over on the right hand side. So I am just spending some time making sure I have everything kind of lined up to make sure that I have this color blocked background looking exactly the way that I want it to be. And there is going to be just a slight like color variation between the 2 pages because there's a slight ombre to that paper. But I'm okay with that. It doesn't make a huge difference. It doesn't make a huge impact, and I'm okay with having that little bit of a difference. So here you see I'm bringing in that lime green, and this is going to be the last section. So at this point, I'm staying pretty true to the sketch as far as the background goes. I am going to get an amazing 5 photos and quite a bit of journaling onto this page. So there are definitely times that I really prefer to create a 2-page spread. It's not something that I often show on screen because it is a little more tricky to try and show you what I'm doing. But this collection works really well for it. So on the left-hand page, I have my 2 4x6s that I wanted to include, and those are in the same place where the sketch has them. And then over on the right-hand side, there were 2 4x6s in the sketch, but I am doing 3, and they're a little bit smaller than 4x4 squares instead. And then I just backed all of those with a thin border of white cardstock. And now I'm going through this ephemera pack, and I'm pulling out a bunch of pieces that I think that I want to use. And where I start with this layout and where I end up with are very different places. So at this point, I'm trying to kind of stay true to the sketch where it had that vertical column of embellishments, and I end up playing around with a few different options for how I want to put that together, and then I end up with something completely different. So a lot of that I stopped the camera because I was getting frustrated and just playing around. So what I decided to do was take some of the ephemera pieces and the stickers that had different planets, and I'm just using them on pop dots over some of the spaces in that pattern paper at the top because it did have those outlines of planets. And then I've grabbed some of these white stars, and these came in an old Allie Edwards story kit, and I'm tucking a few of those in just different areas of clustering. And then I also grabbed that 4x6 card that says awesome, and that's where my journaling is going to live. And so if you'll notice, I do have that split across the right and the left hand page, so that is going to make it a little more tricky when I do my journaling. And then I know that I want to use those chipboard words that say Future Explorer as my title, and so I'm just kind of playing with creating a little cluster over there. I cut out one of the cut apart sheets with this collection, and it had this little moon journaling spot, and I've tucked that in beneath the Future Explorer, and you'll see that a little better when I pull the white paper off. So right now I'm just kind of working on adhering some of these different layers. So I have a little cluster there over that top left photo, and then I want this little embellishment that says Dream Big to kind of bridge from my photo onto my journaling box. So I'm just getting those kind of all lined up where I want them to be. And I know that that journaling box is going to be split across my layout, and I am okay with that. I'm good with how that's going to go. And then I am going to have this little star repeating pattern, and then I just put some dimensional adhesive behind that little space shuttle. Because I do have some dimensional adhesive up on the top with those planets. So I wanted to kind of carry that dimension over. And then I'm going to go ahead and add some of these embellishments to a cluster over here with my photo strip. And I apologize that that's off the screen. Like I said, this is kind of part of the complication about why you don't see a whole ton of 2-page spreads. Because I do tend to work on a double page spread as one big canvas. So rather than thinking of it as 2 separate 12 by 12s, I'm working on it all at once and kind of bridging elements across the pages. But that does make it a little trickier to kind of show you that process without leaving things a little bit off screen. There you saw I added a rub-on to that star, and I just used a piece of the packaging to cover up where I didn't want the rub-on to go on top of my photo. And then I'm getting that title adhered, which is just going to say Future Explorer. And now you can get a little better look at that, that moon journaling spot. And I'm not going to use it for journaling. I am going to use that just as kind of an embellishment cluster up there by my title. And then I'm going to add this tab. So I just pulled my tab punch out and punched a tab out of that same lime green paper to go up there in that top left. In this sketch, that was like the top of a tag, but I've decided to make it a tab instead. And then I grabbed the sticker sheet and I'm just adding a few brightly colored stars up there in my night sky so that instead of just being navy blue is going to have some really good pops of color to it. And I kind of like how that ended up looking. I do have a second sheet of that paper because I have some other ideas that I want to play around with that paper as well. And then I'm just going to go ahead and see if I want to add any of these other little planets anywhere. And for right now, I tried out in a bunch of spots, but decided it's just not going to make the cut. I did spend a little bit of time trying to decide if I wanted to handwrite my journaling or how I wanted that to look. And I ended up typing it out on the computer because I had a bigger story to tell. So I typed all of that out on the computer and then I just cut my little word strips out to fit in that box. And then I added a couple more stickers and a little chipboard planet down in the bottom of that journaling spot to take up my empty space. And that's basically going to do it. So I'm really happy with how this layout came together. I did use kind of the foundation of the sketch, and then from there I kind of went off on my own to make things work for my story. This was a really important story for my son about our trip to the Smithsonian Space Museum and one of the activities that they had him do. So I'm definitely happy with it being a 2-page spread in my book. I do hope that you will check out the Wild Child collection. I am having such a blast playing with it. And definitely stop by Memory Lane Scrapbook. She is a small business and has amazing products. And we would love to see you over there. I'll see you again soon. Bye!